That's powerful. Let's talk about somebody interested in coming to the school right now. So, first of all, I'm really glad you have a school, because I can imagine how difficult it was for you. In fact, thank God that your parents were okay. In fact, let's start there.
Yeah.
I know I've gone around and asked many questions, but let's talk about just in today's day and age. At least kids can say, I want to be a fashion designer, and the parents will look. But what if a parent is looking at you and saying, I don't think so? What would you say to a parent?
I think for me is to tell them to nurture first their children's gifting, because you never know what that child's gift will bring into that family. And I always say, I thank God that my parents never made me do what they hoped they would have done themselves. But they let me do what it is I passionately love to do. And hence, that same thing has gone down to my children. They do what they passionately want to do. Because you will never know what break that any of those children can bring back to you. Yeah, it can be such a blessing to the family.
But even if they don't bring anything back, their joy is
already enjoy.
Exactly.
And what I'm saying, what they'll bring back to the family.
Oh yes, it's joy. Yes, it's joy. You're right.
And they're not fighting you and kicking you all the time. Mom, you made me do this. I didn't want to do this. So they get so challenged. They start using abusive things. They are very angry with life and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
So I think it's now parents need to open up. The world has changed. It has changed from the time they had their time. This is a whole new generation, a generation that has their own minds. Yeah? I wonder how the next generation will look like.
If I can say, the jobs that my kids will do have not yet even been discovered.
Yeah, they've not been definitely.
And that's a bit crazy to
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And when I see my 18-year-old boy, Tendo will name you the names of all designers that I have never even known myself. Because the designers that have come out for that generation, Off-White, I don't know who. I'll just tell him, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So he's passionate about the design.
Oh, he loves fashion.
Oh, that's so cool.
Even the way he dresses, he's very fashionable. My son doesn't play with fashion. But he is clever in the things that he wants to pursue. I think he wants to go into engineering.
Okay.
Fashion, they say, will be a side thing for him. But maybe he doesn't know what he'll do that engineering. Maybe a fashion thing will come in you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they already know what they want to do. You're not telling them you must do this. You must, the era today is not that era. Yeah. So parents, I would say, is that just nurture what they have. Do your best for them. Help them. Work with them. And you'll be surprised the sort of peace and joy that you want from your kids will be in your home. And you have a happy family. Not a family always arguing about things. And it's things that you can change, you know, because it's all in your hands.
I'll end with this as a pattern shot, not even pattern shot, as we end. Let's talk about the association that you tried to start, or that you started.
Yes.
And then into where you see design in Africa or in Kenya going to after that as a pattern shot.
Okay, then. Okay, we did open an association. I did open an association. Maybe.
Why?
Because I knew that working together and working with others, we can change some policies within the industry of fashion and design, especially policies of importing things, because to import fabrics to our nation, cargo, Kenya cargo, airport, everything put together is 41%.
What?
Yes.
Just the fees and the taxation that comes out of importing.
Yeah.
41%. Okay. Fabrics.
Fabrics. And yet, in our nation, we have no fabrics.
We have no fabrics in our nation.
Fashionable fabrics.
Oh.
Everybody who sells fabrics bring it from outside. But fabrics made in Kenya, we don't have. And if they're there, they're fabrics that you cannot really use them for fashion.
Okay, why can't you? Why? What would be the hindrance of using them for fashion? Durability or things like that? Quality?
It's quality. It's all to do with quality.
So everything that every person in this country is wearing comes from outside?
Most of it comes from outside. And by the way, I always say there's nothing wrong with it, by the way.
Yeah.
Because France, they don't have their own fabrics. They
Oh,
import everything. And it's a center of fashion.
Okay.
It depends on how you want to look at it.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So we don't have to grow all fabrics to become the hub of fabrics.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So most people import fabrics from these big nations of fashion. Yeah. You know? And that's why we open the association, so that we see whether some of these fees can be dropped, the way we teach education of fashion, all these things. How can we bring a different angle to them? Who is a fashion designer? Because not everybody with a, what's it called, a tape measure is a fashion designer. So what happens is that people take their clothes or their materials to tailors, and then something goes bad. So all fashion designers become bad.
It's true.
You
In
understand?
fact, they have a reputation for coming 3 days after your wedding to give you your suit.
Yes. So we just wanted to just correct some things, because in most nations they have association and fashion councils. With them, they decide that in this month we will have fashion shows, showcasing what is hot season or cold season. In Europe they have the autumn and winter, and the spring and summer.
Yeah.
It's already organized. They are structured. Everything is structured. Everybody is structured. They have chambers. They have what? Everything is structured. That's why such nations can make
multi-billion industries.
Billions. In the industry of entertainment.
That even end of the day helps the country.
It helps the country. Yeah. And these people are not in the EPZ, meanwhile. They're designers like me and any other Kenyan designer. So there's a lot of work to be done. We have women who do beadwork. Asian beadwork from Mukambani. From all these nations, all these cities that do beadwork. Beadwork from Western Kenya. Beadwork that were done by their grandmas. Where are they? We have the kiondo. We have these mkekas. All these things that were traditional. Where are they? That we can use them to add into fashion, or to change them a bit and bring something new into the fashion market. Yeah. Not to just call ourselves fashion designers. Fashion designers are supposed to stand trends. And we can stand a trend that can follow the rest of the world.
Okay. So the association, is it still running? Is it still up and running?
It's there. I'll say it's there, but it's not per se running. Because like I told you, like we had discussed before, is that designers need to come together to be able to have such associations to run. It can't be 1 or 2 people running it. Because obviously, you have to have an office, you have to employ a girl, because everybody has their own things that they're doing, yeah? You have to employ a secretary or somebody who can be answering those sort of phones and everything, returning emails and that kind of thing. But everything costs. So we need to either come together, see how we can work this thing, work with the government, see which part of the government can help us do this sort of thing, because it's an association or a council that will change the industry in fashion in Kenya. I believe so. But we have to be
united.
Okay,
this is, I promise, a part in short. And it is asking, where do you see fashion and design in Kenya and Africa going? Where is it going? What does the future of it look like?
Everybody is looking to Africa. We say Africa is the last frontier, and to be the last frontier in a lot of things. We can either be united and we work together, or we can be alone, or you can do your thing alone with your tailors and everybody, because that's also a team, and you can take fashion to another level. Yeah. So personally, I believe if we have even manufacturers here in Kenya, where we can manufacture things like buttons, things like zippers, just so small. We start with those small things, you know, where I can have a button with my name, Sally Karago Collections, or I can put in my clothing, you know, so that you
Don't
can
tell me
create
those,
your
even
branding.
those we have to import.
First you have to go to that nation, China, tell them to write your name on your buttons, those sort of things.
Okay, so we are like, we're assembling. Here we're assembling, but also adding the creativity.
We add our creativity on it.
Okay.
Yes. So we just need to be where these manufacturers who are interested in doing this thing, and then bring in, can I call them godfathers, or people who did bags, let's say like from Italy, to come and train our artisans here to do it better than how we did it before. Yeah, so that we are moving with times and not moving backwards. And I think we can do it. I believe we can do it. This nation have intelligent people. We have great artisans. If we all come together, we can make a difference in the industry. And wait, in another 5, I always tell my students, in another 5 years, if we're not positioning ourselves, others will come and position themselves.
The vacuum is there.
The vacuum is there. We can do it.
Thank you so much for such an interesting conversation. I feel so learned. I feel like I've learned so much about fashion, but then also seen the growth of an industry.
Yes.
I've seen the amount of potential that is there. I mean, this is the kind of industry that if your children tell you they want to enter, it's for telling them, okay, no problem. How can I help you?
Yeah.
You know, because of just hearing your story. But also, thank you so much for what you have done for the industry. I'm sure I speak on behalf of a lot of fashion designers, a lot of people who are within your industry saying thank you.
Yeah, there's something I just want to say before. It could be probably the last parting shot.
Yeah, I know we can do 50. It's okay. This is the playhouse. We just talk.
I always say it is not where you begin anything in life. The story should be how you ended it. It's not where you were born that gives you the success. It's what you do with what you have. Yeah. So, location does not mean your destiny. Yeah? You understand
does
me?
not define your destiny.
It does not define your destiny. You understand me? Yeah? So I grew up, my growing up was not per se in the urbans of Nairobi. But it did not mean that...
You weren't in Karen?
No, I was not in Karen. I grew up, a story that people may never believe, but anyway, I'll still say it. When we came to Nairobi, because we used to live in Mombasa, the first place that we went to live in was beyond Jogoo Road. I can't even remember the place. Then from there, we moved to Mandaraka, which is here in Nairobi West.
Yeah.
And then from there, we grew in Kangemi. I only went in Karen in my 90s.
So Sally, who you talked about in the beginning,
Yeah.
you were not meeting her in Karen.
No.
Karen is only after you came back from the UK and your mom gave you
a space. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So I always tell people, it doesn't matter whether you're living in the ghettos, whether you're living wherever you're living, it's how you want to define your destiny. That's what's important.
And cut.
Cut, yeah.
That's a perfect place to cut.
Yeah.
Because it will leave people thinking.
Yeah.